Hi, everyone. Welcome to Shine a Light podcast. Today, my guest is Ray Catania. Hi, Ray. It's nice to have you here.
Hi, Christine. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Let me talk about you before we jump into our conversation. I love what you say. Be limitless.
Mhm.
So you help people understand. This is amazing how their subconscious minds run their life and how to change it. Well, there's a lot to dig into there. I'm a
Y
believer. Most of
Yeah.
our decision, our thoughts, our behaviors, and even our beliefs are not under our control. They're being run by past programming we may not even be aware of. So you have a methodology called the Say It Three Ways, designed
Mm.
to affirm your desired outcomes in three specific ways. I'll let you talk a little bit more about that.
Mm.
You also have two great books, The Atheist and The Afterlife, which is an autobiography. And You're Still Alive Now, Now Act Like It. Great titles. Love it. And A little bit more about you is how you came to this work is, well, first, you're on a mission to help others understand and activate their energetic laws of the universe to create measurable change in their relationships, wealth, health, and inner peace. But the fascinating part is following life altering experiences, including surviving a near death experience, you emerged with a transformed understanding of reality, newfound abilities to help individuals reshape their lives. So, a little bit of a story or stories there that I definitely want to get to know more about. So, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you once again. I appreciate it. Thanks.
So I want to know so many things, but let's start with what happened? How did you come to this work? Take me back.
Well, yeah, we'll go way back
I love way
actually.
back. Yes. To the beginning, if you
To
so
the
desire, Ray.
beginning. When I was a child, I had a kind of tumultuous childhood. It wasn't,
Mm,
pleasant. And my parents were Christian and pretty hardcore at that. And
mm,
I wasn't allowed to really disagree with anything. And it really didn't make sense to me. It just didn't, I kind of rejected it and rebelled against it because I just felt like, if there's this loving God, then why are these things happening to me? Why am I here? What's going on? So
you were
I
confused.
rebelled all the way to the other side and
Mm,
chose to become an atheist. Now
okay.
that will change over time, but I was. And it was at the age of about 20 years old when I had my NDE, near
Near
death
death. Wow,
experience.
never heard it abbreviated. I'm sure I'm the only one, but that's cool. Okay, you had 20 years old, you had a near death
Yeah.
experience. Okay, tell us more.
Right. It was because there was a fire in the kitchen
Huh.
and there was a gas leak. The stove was natural gas and the gas was rising all night long. And I was upstairs. I was still living at home
Wow.
in my bedroom. So I was inhaling the gas fumes. And in the morning, my mother must have turned on the stove and there was this big ball of flames and it caught on fire. But it wasn't the fire or the smoke. The way I understand it, that was put out pretty quickly by my father. But the
Okay.
gas I was inhaling all night
Mm,
long. So when the police arrived and the firefighters, I heard it and I tried to get out of bed, but I was kind of paralyzed. I couldn't move
yeah.
my legs. I couldn't move my head. I couldn't even yell.
Hmm.
So I was trying to pull myself to the edge of the bed. And when I got to the edge, I tumbled out and I hit face first. And you know how when you get hit, you're just waiting for that pain to kick in?
Yeah.
It never kicked in. And that's because I wasn't in that body anymore. I was above it
Wow.
and I could look
Wow.
down and I could see it. And
Huh.
everything that I saw was like very, very vivid. It was amazing. It didn't scare me. It didn't frighten me. It was actually the most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me.
Wow.
Um, the, the, the stories that you hear, yes, there's the white light and it's just, I mean, saying it's a light is doing it
In-
disjustice. It's love, it's euphoria,
Indescribable.
it's
Hmm.
peace, it's all everything. And I was one with the light. I was a part of the light, not
Hmm.
separated from. And at the end of the light, there was a being that said, "It's okay, Ray, come into the light. It's fine. It's
Hmm.
okay." And I felt comfortable in going into the light and I started to go in. But what happened was my father at that time kicked in the door and he
Hmm.
scooped me up off the floor and he was distraught and he was screaming for the paramedics. And that kind of hit me hard because I never had a relationship with him.
Hmm.
And so I asked the being at the end of the light if I could go back because I wanted to have that. Like he maybe hugged me 5 times in my life, and one of them is when I'm dead. So I really longed for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's why I got to go back, but I did wake up and I was on the living room floor paramedics were working on me, and I'm like, guys, I feel fantastic. What are you doing to me?
Right.
And the euphoria kind of stays with
Yeah.
you for a while, and I was just in this wonderful place, and I'm trying to tell them to stop. I feel great. And they're like, kid, you are anything but great right now. So
In the
just,
physical world, you were dead.
yeah, right,
Okay.
exactly. So, they're like, just relax and let us do what we have to do. And I went with it, and I was like, but did you see the light? Did you hear the voice? Wasn't that
Mm,
awesome? And now they're looking at each other like, what do we have here? Right. So I instantly just shut my mouth and let it go and didn't say anything about it. And if I tried to tell anybody about it, they would tell me I was crazy. That
hmm.
didn't happen. My mother said that didn't happen. It wasn't like that. That can't happen, and blah, blah, blah. So I shut it down, and I just put it in a box, and I put it away for many, many years. It took over 25 years to integrate that into my life. And it wasn't until I met my second wife when eventually I did, and she opened that door.
Hmm.
We were,
Because she
we were,
accepted, or she was more,
well, here's the
yeah.
story. You know how when you start to get serious with somebody, the question arises, so what's your spiritual or religious
Mm,
beliefs? And I'm like,
hmm.
you go first.
I don't know if I want to share
You
this.
know what I mean? So I was like trying to avoid it, but she's too smart. And she's
Yeah.
like, no, really. And I said,
Mm,
well, it's something I've been wanting to work on, but I haven't gotten around to it, truthfully. Like, I don't
okay.
really know what they are at this point in time.
Mm,
So um, she says, well, I'm going to get you a spiritual clearing. And I said, well, what's a spiritual clearing? I said, is that like a massage or something? She's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
not at all. Not at
We're
all.
on
No,
two different planets right now.
yeah, you're not getting it. No.
A
So my
patient
birthday,
woman, I see.
yeah, very
Very
much.
good.
So anyway, after the spiritual clearing, everything came back from the time that I had that NDE, and there were a lot of strange things that happened after the NDE. It was like a portal was open, and I could feel energy in the room. I knew things. I
Hmm.
was just completely, my intuitive behaviors and abilities were just really incredible.
Different. Hmm.
And after the spiritual clearing, it all came back, but it came back even more so.
Hmm.
And it was the first
What
time.
is a spiritual clearing? Just
So it's when somebody actually, the energy in your chakras that are flow through the body. It's
help you
usui.
release it.
They
Yeah.
help you release the negative energy, bring in
Mm.
positive energy, and I'm really summarizing
Of
that.
course, I am
Um,
sure.
and I didn't believe in it at all. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, whatever you say. But
Whatever
then,
for love, right?
right, I was like, this girl's hot, and I'm going to do whatever she says.
That's a
So
very
I'm
honest
just going
answer,
to go
Ray.
along with it. Yeah, no, there's
Good for
no
you.
question. But thereafter the strange things started happening again, and I started to get like visions. I could see
Hmm.
for the first time ever, and I see this in my mind. This is not with my eyes or my ears. In my mind, a movie screen opens up, and a man comes to me, and the man says, um, I effed up. I made a mistake. You can help her. I cannot. And I'm like looking around like, did anybody else see that?
Hmm.
I was at work. It was like a Friday, and I'm like, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened. And he did it again and
Hmm.
again and again. And so I left work. I went home. I'm like, I don't know what that was, what just happened, but I'm getting out of here, and I'll figure it out by Monday.
Okay.
So Saturday, here he comes again, says it again and again and again. It's like this 8-second video loop that just won't exit my brain. By Sunday, I couldn't even function anymore. I
Hmm.
couldn't talk. I couldn't drive. I remember being at the counter paying for my stuff, and the lady says, "Are you okay, sir?" And I said, "No, no, I'm not." And I went back
Huh.
to my car, and I was just like devastated because I had worked so hard to change all the negative aspects of my life.
Hmm.
I raised 2 kids. Yes, I had a divorce, but I did everything for those kids. Before that, I was a reckless, wild kid. And that's
Hmm.
because of the home that I came from.
Yeah.
Chaos was my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I would create chaos.
Okay.
But I changed everything. I became a pillar in my community. I did everything right. And now here I am, and I'm like, now I'm crazy. Thank you
Hmm.
so effing much.
Hmm.
You know,
That must have
that
been
was it.
very, very scary.
Yeah. So I now I have to tell this woman I fell in love with that I'm crazy and you deserve to find somebody better.
Hmm.
And I finally get my courage to tell her, and I tell her this story, and the movie screen opens up. I see this guy, he's husky, he's got black hair, beard, mustache. And he says, I effed up. I made a mistake. You can help her. I cannot. And she says, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Now, if this story's not crazy enough, but my wife is a doctor of psychology.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm about to tell a doctor of psychology that I see people that aren't there.
Sure, sure.
And this is going to go over great,
And her
right?
name's Bruce Willis.
Right. But that's not what happens.
Huh.
That's not what happens. She's like, that sounds like my dad. And I said,
Wow.
babe, your dad's dead, you told me. She says, I know. And I said, now you're crazy and I'm getting out of here, you know.
Hmm.
But sure enough, she says, listen, relax. Let's meet with a medium. I've met with mediums many times. Let's figure out what's going on. And I was like, wow, this is really like the best person I've ever met in my entire life. I could say something like that. And
Well,
she's
just
like,
the acceptance instead of
right,
the denial and it's not true, just the safety she
exactly.
provided for you to
So we,
explore and be curious, right?
yeah. And then we went to see the medium and I explained everything that had happened ever since the NDE. And she validated
Hmm.
all of it. And even went on
Wow.
to say that she was hospitalized by her own parents because they thought she was schizophrenic.
Wow. Because she had some
She has
intuitive
the abilities and she talked
experiences.
about it and they locked her up.
Did
Right.
she have a near-death experience as well, or it doesn't
I
necessarily not
don't
come
know.
from that? It's not a. This was just
Uh,
your story and how it came to be.
correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not sure about hers.
Okay.
But anyway, this opened up the spiritual doors. And now I started to just dive into everything metaphysical. I went
Hmm.
back to school for metaphysics. I'm
Hmm.
actually completing my PhD.
Wow.
Um, and I started studying physics. Now, because I'm the biggest skeptic ever, remember, I was the atheist,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I saw the afterlife. That's the
Yeah.
title of the book. And now I'm completely confused with what's going on. So I started to study physics and metaphysics, and I found principles that you can apply and put together, and it
Hmm.
makes perfect sense, like
Hmm.
the law of attraction. It
Yeah.
really makes perfect sense. When you understand energy, frequency, and vibration, it all falls into place.
Hmm.
It really does. And that's the program that I'm working on now. Try to help other people create a life by design and have
Hmm.
anything that they want because you really can have it all.
First of all, what a story, right? there's there's a lot to. I mean, as someone who has a master's in psychology, there's a lot to unpack there.
Oh,
So, and my first career, I was a therapist,
so
a
you
family
think I'm
therapist.
nuts?
Well, actually, I don't think you're nuts. I think there's so many things, like just how we don't listen to ourselves and
Mm,
how that sometimes we're set up for that based on
mhm.
how we're raised. I mean, that's kind of what the level of denial of your own self that you're describing and the pain of that and just how much we want to be loved is
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it brings us back to life, that need, doesn't it? I mean, that's
yeah.
quite a to have your dad welcome you in the darkest moment. And what we can't do in life is a whole
Mm,
different story, isn't it? So
yeah,
but as someone who I feel I'm very intuitive as well as skilled, and
mm,
so there is a different aspect of things that I
yeah.
think a lot of us have, but we don't listen to.
Correct. We all
So
do. Yeah.
yeah, so it's maybe to different degrees. You're the expert, not me, but I think again we're not used to tuning in
It's
and
something we're born with, really. And then
hmm,
we kind of get distracted with life.
yeah,
And then, whatever else, religion or whatever we're given, we decide to go in that direction. And that's what we're taught. And we
yeah,
don't explore anything else. And when
yeah,
we don't explore, we don't learn.
yeah.
So I was kind of forced into exploring it, whether I liked it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, or you were open to it in some way. Your mind and body said, "You're going to listen to this in some way,
Right.
shape, or
Whether
form,"
you
right?
like it or
But
not.
I will bring people into your life, aka now your wife, to help
Yeah,
you do this. So,
exactly.
that's and so let's go back to your subconscious thoughts are in control of your life, whether you know it or not, right?
Hmm.
And so, talk more about that, please.
Yeah. So what I learned was the different parts of the mind and how we really see things. Our perception is our reality. I always
Yeah.
say perception is truth. And if you can change your perception, you can change your truth. if you change your truth, you have changed your reality.
Yeah.
So it's the way we see things. Two people can experience the exact same thing
Hmm.
and come away with completely different ideas about what just transpired,
Like
right?
childhood, for
Like,
example. Siblings
exactly.
don't grow up with the same parents because of perception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I often use the example of two children. They live in two different houses right next door. They're both about 5, 6 years old.
Hmm.
One kid goes into the kitchen and puts his hand on the stove and he burns his hand because his mom's been cooking and he's got the, terrible burns. And the other kid next door hears all of this. So he goes into the kitchen, he touches his stove, but his mom wasn't cooking and he has no burn. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Stoves don't cause pain. The
Yeah.
other kid is forever going to be frightened of stoves. He's never going to be a chef anytime unless he
Yeah.
consciously
Yeah.
rewires his
The experience.
subconscious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone has to teach him that, or he has to teach that himself.
And those are the things we're aware of.
Right.
It's all the stuff we're not aware of that's really in charge of us, right? The
Right.
things that are we're taking in our environments that, the brain is forming. Yeah.
Especially especially between the age of 2 and 10, right? That's
Yeah.
when the ego forms.
Sure.
And
Sure.
that ego wants to take control. It's that little chitter chatter in our head says, you're
Yeah.
not good enough. You can't do that. You can't accomplish that. Don't wear that. You're going to look silly. Don't say that.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
always trying to protect us. But what it ultimately does is it prevents us from
Mm.
doing anything
Yeah.
outside of the box because
Yeah.
we're scared.
Yeah. Fear is something that we seek as humans to avoid, isn't it?
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so. And
So
when we
that's the
can break
limit. That's
away,
the limit part, right? That limits us.
that is right.
Okay.
And
Well,
when
you
you can break down that ego, which is the
mm,
first thing I try to do if I'm coaching one-on-one, we break down that ego. We understand where it comes from so we can start chipping away and chipping away at it. And then
oh,
the more we can do that, the more that's where the be limitless comes in. Because if you get rid of that, your perception of life and everything around you changes and you can become limitless. You can do anything.
I always say it's not what happens to you in life. It's often the story you tell yourself about what
That
happens in life, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. My
Yeah.
traumas that I talk about in my books, because if I didn't have the traumas, I wouldn't be here today.
Sure. Sure.
And so people say, well, that was terrible. And I say, well, it was and it wasn't. Because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have learned what I learned.
Yeah.
And I would have no business writing books and helping anybody if I didn't have those things. So it was
Yeah.
important.
Some would call that a positive attitude, but I think there's a little more to it, right?
Yeah, it's very positive. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm completely flipping the script and saying that we need traumas in order to evolve. We
W-
can't go without them.
We're not exact. No one's getting out of this unscathed, is what I
No,
like to say. I
no.
was in an auto accident when I was 28. And so I was a high level athlete at the height of, life. I had 3 years of chronic pain, which I called the blissful years. And then I went acute. And people would be like, "Did you sue the guy?" Because I had hit head on. Sounds very dramatic. And in many ways it was. I was in a school zone. He was passed out at the wheel.
Oh,
Talk about trauma. I can still talk about it, brings it up a little bit, but
yeah.
it's really more the hospital stuff that really messed me up in terms of the physical. But people are like, "Did you sue him? Did you this? He was likely drinking, me at least the night before." And I'm like,
Mhm.
what would that change? That would change absolutely nothing
Right.
about the outcome, which is my life was forever changed, and it also set other things in motion.
Mm.
But let me ask you a question. Do you have to allow it to set things in motion like you just described? If I didn't have this trauma, I wouldn't have these books, I wouldn't be helping other people. But what's the that doesn't happen for everybody because we all experience trauma and it doesn't
Yeah.
turn into this kind of purpose or passion. So
Correct. Yeah.
tell me how that happens.
So the people that are searching for something, and a lot of people feel like there's something missing in their lives, and they just can't put their finger on it.
Yeah.
My primary client is probably around 40 years old, has 2 kids,
Mm,
a house, a beautiful house, and a
yeah.
couple of cars, and they have everything, right? The American dream, and they're like, I'm miserable, and I have no idea why.
Yeah.
And it's because you pursued someone else's view of happiness and not
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, well, it's
You
what we're
pushed yours
supposed to
aside.
do. We're supposed to create
Supposed to.
this cookie cutter lifestyle that
Right.
should be the holy grail of happiness because it's security, right?
Hmm.
Or is it?
And that's the ego kicking in and saying, you have to be secure. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to do it right. You have to do it the
Mm,
way you were taught.
mm,
And no, you don't. You can live outside the box. You can do anything you want.
yeah. But that people have to give up stuff, hypothetically. Tell us
I,
more.
oh,
Yeah,
do
I'm
you?
challenged. I don't know.
I
You
don't
tell
I don't
me.
look at it as giving up anything. I look at it as, listen, I walked away from a great job to write these books.
Yeah.
And you don't become an author to become a millionaire overnight.
No, but that's a big misnomer that maybe, if you get
Big
on
misnomer.
Oprah's list or
Right.
something, but most,
Exactly.
books do not sell themselves and it's hard to profit off of writing a book,
That's
right?
right. That's right. So I had to follow the passion of wanting to help other people
Mm,
because I had this huge awakening. For
yeah.
my whole life was filled with anger, anger, anger.
Mm.
And I had to lose that anger. So I worked on this like for years. And I studied under Eckhart Tolle, one of the
Oh,
people, one
wow.
of the many people. And he taught us something called become the director of your life. So before you're about to react to something, something transpires, put yourself in the director chair and look
Yeah.
back at yourself and direct yourself like you're in a movie. That made so much sense to me. That just clicked.
Yeah.
So you pause because, the subconscious and the ego jumps out in front of the conscious, right? It takes a couple
Yeah.
seconds for the conscious mind to catch up. That's why we get scared in a movie theater when the guy comes out with the axe.
And it does scare me. You're absolutely
Right?
right.
It
Yes.
does,
It's
but it
supposed to.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
You're just in a movie theater, and then your
True.
conscious mind kicks in and goes,
Yeah.
"You looked absolutely ridiculous
Right.
right there."
That's right. Yeah. You know,
You're
that's
just around friends.
so I'll put this in my own terms just for my audience in terms of what you're saying. This is like
Hmm.
to me the ultimate definition of emotional intelligence when
Hmm.
you're able to be the director of your own movie in real time. You
Yeah,
can be in the situation and also decide with awareness how
yeah,
you want to respond instead of just react.
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it
Uh,
does require skill. So talk us through pardon me, the three-step method. What's that called again? Let's make sure we all hear it.
say it three ways
Say it
is
three
a
ways.
program for manifestation and
Okay.
creation. So I learned a lot about the law of attraction, and I was taught in
Tell my
manifestation
listeners what
technique.
we all think we know what law of attraction is, but
Okay.
let's just make sure. Yeah, go ahead.
It's the ability to line your thoughts and place them on a vibration which
Mm,
matches with the vibration of the thing that you want and attract it to you.
interesting.
And we know that from a point of physics, the way my phone works, and I'm going to simplify this. If I dial your phone number, my phone and your phone connect and we can communicate. That's
Yeah.
because they go on the same frequency.
Okay.
It's that simple. We can do that with our minds. We
Mm,
can align our frequency with the thing that we want. Now, that's the easy part. The hard part is how do you get there?
yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Right. So, what I discovered was I've been working with people for many years, and I started to really look at the folks that didn't make it, that weren't able to do it. Like, what did I do differently? Because it worked
Yeah.
like a charm for me.
Yeah.
What did I do differently? It was the emotion. It was the emotion because it's the emotion that drives the frequency.
So what does
So
that mean? What do
you
you have
have
to
to
do? Yeah.
tap into your emotion. So here's the say it three ways. If
Okay.
your affirmation is I want to be wealthy, I want to be wealthy, I want to be wealthy, right? Okay. But if you're not wealthy, you're not believing that. That's not
Right.
going anywhere.
Right.
Okay. But now let's say it three ways. I want to be wealthy. I will be wealthy. I am wealthy. And you
Interesting.
chant that in your meditation over and over and over. And you're building an emotion, right?
Mm.
You have to have believability. You have to conceive, believe to achieve.
Hmm. And one's very logical. One way of saying it's very logical.
Right.
The other ways you're saying it is the story. It's past, present,
Right.
future, right?
That's
It's yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And that builds the emotion. If you just I'm wealthy, no, you're not.
Yeah, yeah. You're trying to
you're,
convince
you're
yourself
trying to
rather than
convince yourself.
manifest it. Yeah.
That's right. It doesn't
Yeah.
work that way.
Yeah.
And then the other part to that, I mean, there's several parts to it, but the other part is the visualize with five, I call it. And that's
Mm,
when we place ourselves in the situation as though it's already occurred. So let's
mm,
say you want a job and that's what you want to manifest, this beautiful job that you've been looking for. So I say, visualize yourself sitting at the desk and touch the desk. What is it made out of? Shake
Mm,
somebody's hand. What does it feel like? Is there coffee in the conference room? What does it taste like? Smell it. Use all five senses and bring them up into your sixth sense.
yeah,
Now you're projecting again, and you're projecting with the emotion that we just created
yeah,
with the
yeah.
say it three ways.
So I'm gonna take a leap here. And so, first of all, I'm a big believer in what you're selling here, Ray. I really am, because I think that that doesn't mean life's perfect. It doesn't mean that everything just. But we, again, whether it's positive. My dad used to say a negative attitude was a down payment on defeat. And
Yeah,
so,
that's
to a
right.
fault, to the point where I thought I can't take it anymore. But it stuck, because I
Yeah.
and and I do. You can create, but if
Hmm.
for the people listening,
Hmm.
my hunch is you can't surround yourself with people who are going to be like, you're crazy.
Yeah,
You know, you
right.
you
No,
better surround yourself with minded people, or they'll talk you out of all the positive
that is correct.
manifestations. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I saw this funny meme online, and it said, something like, "Welcome to your spiritual awakening. Your family has rejected you. You have no friends, and your job is not fulfilling anymore.
yeah,
Welcome to paradise."
yeah. It
But
takes
when
courage.
it takes courage, when you see the world, you cannot be surrounded by naysayers. You have to leave them behind. You don't have to like never speak to them again,
Of course, yeah.
but
It's not a
you
cult.
can't have them, right. You
Yeah,
can't have them constantly telling
yeah,
you. And I often tell people, don't tell anybody your manifestation. That's
yeah.
yours.
That's
Keep that
smart.
here.
Yeah.
You know,
This is again, I'm going to go back. Like, this is about listening to yourself and believing in your own empowerment, isn't it?
right.
Really,
Yeah,
yeah,
sure
and
is.
your self worth.
That's right.
Yeah, it not natural. This takes real habit and practice, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
This is
Yeah.
not like one day you're gonna practice it and boom, wealth is gonna come into your. This is
Mhm. A
this is
life
the
changing thing over time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So because I know, having done in my early career, I did a lot of stress management training. I did a lot of work with, because I worked for an employee assistance program for many years, and I would go out and most of what's troubling us is between our ears. It's what we say to ourselves.
You bet.
But some of us are wired more to make it harder to say the right things to ourselves, based on upbringing, based on what we know about brain chemistry. And so
Hmm.
these are some hurdles. So these kind of methods, the methods that you're describing, are things that can rewire that. We know the brain's flexible now, right?
Yes, very much so. Yeah. I call it retrain the brain. And
I love
what
that
it,
everything you do rhymes. That makes me very happy. It's just, no, seriously, sometimes that's just really helpful stuff, that
I think it
it's
helps stick.
memorable, it
Yeah.
sticks. Yeah. So I tease, and I mean it too, right?
So
Retrain the brain. I like it.
retrain the brain. And each time you say something in the negative tense and you catch yourself doing it, rephrase it. Even
Mm,
if it's just in your mind. If you said it wrong, pause, stop, repeat it. When you stop yourself, right, you catch yourself from saying something in the negative tense, reframe it, put it
yeah.
back in the positive tense. This is the way I should have said it. Just like
Yeah.
being the director, right?
Yeah. Back to the
Tell
director.
yourself how you should have done that,
Yeah.
whatever that thing was,
Yeah.
and reframe it
And
over and over and over. And
do it
eventually you'll do
until.
it naturally.
As a family therapist that knocked on people's doors at the age of 22, I used to work with families that had kids who were very, out of control
Mm,
behaviorally. And the hardest part as a parent was doing it until, like, we want consequences to work, we want rewards to work, we want it to work right away. But
yeah.
in reality, you have to do this until it works. It will work, won't it?
Yes, it will.
But
But it does
until,
take time. Yeah. If
yeah.
you're not willing to put in the time and the effort and the work, it's not coming. You
Well, this is
really have to decide that you want to make a change.
this is where having a coach like you, and this is this big part of what you do and how you help
Yes.
people, right,
Yes.
is like, I don't want to. I was an athlete. Unfortunately, I'm back to playing tennis, which is a miracle. I don't want to go without a coach on the court anymore. I need somebody to tell me what to do it
Yeah.
right.
Even if it's
So
just to hold you accountable, right? Even if you
that's
know
right.
what to do, somebody
Well, and
holds
I
you accountable.
don't. That's how you get better. I mean, I do a little bit, but I know that and I like to learn. But this is why coaching is so important, because when you feel like it's not working,
Mhm.
somebody can help guide you to help it work faster, better,
Yeah.
right?
The
And have that
observer.
accountability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
being the observer and being outside, you can look in at someone else's situation and find the pieces to the puzzle. It's easier to do it that way. If we try to look at ourselves, sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. And that's really about our awareness and how great it is and how much control we have over our own awareness.
Yeah. And that takes practice too, and
Uh,
help. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So tell us how do you work with people? How can they find out more about you? And yeah.
You can visit my website, raycatania.com.
Will you
And
spell that just to make sure? We'll put it in the links too, but
yeah, Catania, Catania, just like Cat and Tanya,
oh nice.
raycatania.com. And the books are there. The course will be there shortly.
The course
Anything that I'm
meaning, tell
working
us.
on, Say It Three Ways, which is
Okay,
coming
so
out, that's
is
going
it
to
an
be an
online
online
course?
course.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Good for
Yep.
you. Great. So you
And
can reach more people.
yes,
Wonderful.
exactly. That is the plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. You will. Let's say it three ways. I will, I am. It
I
will
want, I
happen.
will, I am. Yes,
I
it will
want, I
happen.
will, I am.
Right.
It will.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're building the field of dreams for people to have the limitless
Trying
life,
to
and
empower people to have what they want.
yeah,
Yeah.
what they want. And
So
not
far, so
everybody's
good.
want looks the same, does it?
No, not at all.
No.
No, absolutely
No.
not. It's
Yeah.
not always about money and material things. And I try to stress that all the time. It could be about, finding a soulmate
Mm,
or just, finding happiness to what
yeah.
that means to you.
Yeah.
It's not always about money or material items. No,
Yeah.
not at all.
If it were, we'd have some happier people.
We would.
I mean, it's certainly when you have enough to not worry, that makes life a lot easier, but it doesn't guarantee happiness, that's for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, tell your wife that I already like her. And I know that she
I
comes
will.
from a little bit of crazy because she's in the field of psychology, which I respect as someone who comes from a little bit of crazy.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you can't go into the field unless you're trying to heal something that you've had in your own
Right.
childhood, right? It's just a cultural norm for those of us in the field. So, well, you're
Mhm.
absolutely delightful. I appreciate the wisdom
Thank
and your
you.
personal experience. I mean, not everybody's going to come to it that way, but what a remarkable thing that happened in your life and what you're doing with it.
Thank you so
So,
much.
yeah,
I
my
appreciate
pleasure.
you.
So, everyone listening, please listen to yourself. And if you need Ray's help to do that, to create a limitless life and have the happiness, reach out to him directly. So, thanks so much, Ray. And thanks for joining us on Shine a Light. Have a
Thank you.
great day.